Hello, YouTube. It's Little Derek Comics back again with another video, and this is kind of a follow-up to what I was talking about last week, where I was talking about how I was experimenting with animation. And so this week I'm just gonna reveal the character drawing that I was working on. So I drew Ness from the Earthbound series, and that's not all. He's also rigged up and fully animated for the most part. So I'm gonna take you guys through my artistic process and the inspiration behind making this character and all that. I'm gonna leave timestamps and stuff throughout the video so you don't have to watch everything. But if you do want to watch everything, you're free to do so. Also, while you're there, if you can, go ahead and leave a like. It'd really help me out. All right, now let's get into it. Now I'm gonna go more in depth on the process and the design ideas that I had in mind with this character, but I wanted to start off by telling you why I started with this character. So, Earthbound is a game that I really like. I got into it because I started playing Ness in Smash. I want to say the Wii U one, but I picked him up and I started having fun playing as the character. He's one of my main characters, and he's just really fun to play as. And so I never played the actual Earthbound series up until that point. So I was sitting there like, let me try to play this game. And I had my DS, right? I had a 2DS XL, and while the eShop was still available. I'm that old. But yeah, while the eShop was still available on the DS, I went and got the Earthbound game. So that's where I played Earthbound the first time, and it was really fun. It was during a time where I was in high school and getting ready to go to college. Like I think I was applying to college at that point, and I kind of stopped playing it somewhere or didn't play it as much, but I ended up finishing it while I was in college. So it was a really good time to play the game because I was kind of growing up. This is kind of almost a coming of age story, but it's really fun to go on this adventure. It's very similar to Pokemon in a lot of ways, and I really love Pokemon. But yeah, it became a game that I really liked, and it was really colorful, really playful, really charming, a really decent story to it too. So that's one reason that I went with this. I wanted to do something Earthbound related for a while I was doing art. And since I was getting into animation again, I wanted to pick something simple that I could relate to, that I knew that I could work with, something that I knew pretty well. And it just fit. It was like the perfect opportunity to experiment. And Ness has a lot of, animations and kind of not really expressions. He doesn't do much in terms of expressions, but he has a lot of abilities and stuff to work with. And it was just a good starting point. So how did I go on about making this character and what were the inspirations? Well, Ness has two different main designs, right? He has his original Earthbound design. He's got his original Mother design. That's technically Ness too. I know he's also referred to as like Ninten in that game, but essentially I want to say they are the same game for the most part. But I went off mostly the Earthbound design and his Smash design because that's the one he's kind of most recognized as at this point. But I wanted to keep the integrity of the original game. So I have I have different Smash elements of this character, but I also have things that originate in the actual game. He's a bit more colorful. He's got a thicker outline to make him more cartoony. He's got this little smile like similar to Smash, whereas in the original game he had like this neutral kind of face. It keeps him more childlike, and I added the rosy cheeks like he has in the actual game. And he's a bit rounder. His hair can in the Smash when it kind of has like a rounded kind of front to it, and I wanted to keep that. And it since he's a round character, it just felt right. And I know in the game, his like when his hat is off, it's kind of spiky, but I preferred it like round. It felt more playful and more childlike to have his hair around like that. So I thought that would be nice. I feel like it captures the character pretty well. And so yeah, that was the design aspect of it. That was kind of what I had in mind while doing this. He also's got backpack straps because in the original game he has a backpack, but I don't think he's designed with the backpack on. Whereas his Smash iteration, he's got the backpack on at all times. So I put the straps on there to indicate that he has a backpack, and it also kind of covers his arms on the animation. And I'll get more into that in a second. So with a couple references in mind, I saw a few sprites that I found online. I'll put an image of it because I don't really know how to link it or anyone to it, but I want to say it says where it's from on the image. But it had a collection of sprites from the game, so I used that, and I also used my Ness amiibo so I can have like a good Smash reference. So I used those two things, and then I got his kind of standing pose from the game. He's in the midst of walking. He's never just standing still in the game, but I pretty much turned it into just a standing pose. And so I got that. I traced over it, and before y'all come in the comments, because I know you art oriented snobs are gonna be like, "Oh, you traced it. Oh my gosh, you're not a real artist." Okay. First off, I have a bachelor's of fine arts, okay? I know how to draw on top of that. And not only that, but there's no amount of tracing because this is a pixelated design, right? So there's no amount of tracing that's gonna make me know how to make the character like I did. I still had to put my own artistic spin on it. Also, the reason I traced wasn't necessarily just so I could be more accurate to it. I really mostly did it for the proportions. So I kind of did a outline sketch of the body and then took those proportions and redrew it based off of my sketch. So there was a very limited amount of tracing going on in the first place. Now, here's where it gets a little bit more complicated. Like I said, this isn't necessarily just a drawing. This was made with the intention to animate later. And the way I do my animations is I like them to look like my drawings, but also like them to be posable for animation. So the trick is to make it like a drawing, and that's why I have the sketch, the underlayer of how it's going to look. But when I draw it, I have to separate the parts. So you see that I have the underlayer of the drawing, and that's kind of like my guide layer. And then I draw the outline and everything, right? So it's an actual full drawing, but then I get the pieces and start taking that drawing and break it into different pieces, if that makes sense. So it gives the appearance that it's a still drawing, but then it starts moving and it comes to life. Like I was looking at it and I was like, I thought it was just like a JPEG of what I did, and then it was the GIF and it started moving. It was like, oh my gosh, the drawing just came to life. It was really awesome. With that being said, however, animations, especially like this, can get very complicated because you have a wide number of body parts to choose from to animate. And this is supposed to be simple, so I kept it down to a few body parts. So the head is its separate thing, the kind of torso is a separate thing, legs, the kind of groin area, the arms and the shoulders, they're all their own thing, as well as the legs and the feet. Now, the hat, I did make a separate object just because I feel like there's a lot of times where the hat might come off. It's kind of like if you had shades or glasses, you'd want them to come off eventually at some point, even if they're getting like knocked off or something. So I made sure to keep the hat a separate object. After I got done with all of that, I got the different parts and saved them as separate PNGs. And I made those all in Clip Studio. If you want to know about all the software I use for different things, I can make a video on that in the future. Just let me know in the comments below. But yeah, after I got done in Clip Studio, I imported all of those parts into open tunes, and it pretty much just put them all in the same place, which was really convenient. So I pretty much had my drawing right there, and from there I had to start getting to animating. You might be wondering why go through all of that when you could have just went into the software, drawn it, and started animating anyway. Well, for one, I prefer to draw in Clip Studio because that's where I make most of my comics and I'm most familiar with it. But not only that, but if I were to draw, just straight up draw the characters in OpenTunes, then I would have to draw it in every single frame. Whereas now I have the limbs and the body parts, so I really just have to move them around. And you might say, well, isn't that cheating? Well, no, it's actually just finding a shortcut. It's 2025 and I'm using digital software. I'm on a computer. Why would I not let the computer move my things for me? That will give me a much more accurate sense of movement a lot of the time. And it's just more efficient than drawing the exact same image. It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes as an artist, you have to go for efficiency over cramping up your hand. And if it is cheating, if it is, I don't care. I'm a cheat. And here's the thing I find the most magical about modern animation software, whether it be OpenTunes, whether it be Adobe Animate, Blender, they will allow you to put a rig on the character. So it's essentially like a skeleton within the character, and it doesn't matter if it's 2D or 3D animation, you can do it with both. And what that does is it allows me to essentially connect these body parts to one another and move them with each other or independently of one another. So, for example, the hat that I mentioned earlier, I can move that hat independently of the head, but I can also grab the head, move it independently of the body, and also the hat will follow the head. So if I move the head, the hat will go with it, but the body won't. And that makes it cool because say if I wanted to move the character all at once, I could grab, say, the crotch area or the torso or anything like that, and it'll move the whole body. And if I just wanted to tilt, say, Ness like by the torso, everything up to that torso that's connected to the torso will move, but his legs will stay down. So it's kind of like he's got this little sway going. I probably won't have any actual video of that. I might just have little bits and pieces, but if you'd like to see that in a separate video of how that works, let me know and I'll do it. So I should have an image up right now of how everything's connected so I can at least give you that. And once I had all of that, I pretty much had to pick a point to where the part would move. That's a lot to explain, so I'll just leave it at that. But once that was done, I just had to pose the character and make him move. And once I did that, I had it animated. So now you have your little waving nest animation. And there was a lot of figuring things out, a lot of tutorials I had to go up until that point to figure all this out. And some of it was stuff I learned in college. So that was one benefit of having my art degree or whatever. But yeah, that was pretty much how I made this and how I got it animated. And that was the whole process. Lastly, I will say I did make a GIF of it, and that was difficult. The whole exporting process, like I mentioned in the last video, if I'm not mistaken, was a big difficult deal, and I didn't feel like doing what I pretty much just turned the video into AVI because I couldn't figure out how to get it to MP4. And I want to say the same process you use to get it in MP4, you have to use to get it in a GIF format. So I pretty much just took it in freaking freaking DaVinci Resolve, which is what I use to edit anyway. And that's how I got it in there. So that was pretty much the whole process. So now that I've done that, what is next from here? So I could scrap that and do something else, but I think I want to do more with this. I think I want to make an actual big project out of this. So let me know if you like Earthbound, if you like the animation I've been working on, if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, let me know. Put it in the comments below. And if you don't want to see that, what would you like to see? Do you like this more in-depth video on my art processes? Do you like the video game content? Do you like other animated things? What art related things would you like to see? Leave it in the comments below. But other than that, the video is over with. And I would like to say thank you to everybody who subscribed to me or who's been watching me. I just recently passed 25 subs. So please help me out. Keep the channel growing. If you like the video, please leave a like. It's free, doesn't hurt to like. And if you're really bold, if you're really about that life, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're only going up from here, and I would love to take you guys along on this journey. And I'd love for you guys to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm one of the day ones," even though it's like day whatever day this is even in the same year. All right, it's a whole different year. So yeah, but be sure to like, comment, and share, and subscribe, and all that. So yeah, with that being said, I guess I'll see you next week. Peace.